Hey guys, welcome back. Today Casey's going to walk us through pipe design and how we perform that function in Civil 3D. In this first episode, he's going to walk through the pipe alignment and creating the network, and then we'll follow up with a number of other series to show you the complete set of the pipe design process. So let's learn.
Welcome back, guys. This is Casey. Today we're going to be starting our series on pipe networks and how we can create pipe networks using Civil 3D. So in our last pipe video, we went over how to create a conceptual storm layout, and in this video we're going to be using the conceptual storm layout that we created in order to create a pipe network in Civil 3D, which is going to allow us to create pipe profiles and hydraulic grade lines of our pipes, and it's going to be extremely useful to design all of our pipes throughout our site. So in our conceptual stormwater plan, we came up with a concept very similar to what we have on our screen now. It's been slightly changed, but the general concept is the same. So we've got these two ponds, a northern pond as well as a southern pond. And then if we go to our proposed hydrology layer, we're essentially splitting the runoff from the south basin into the southern pond and from the north basin into the northern pond. So if we go back to our grading plan, you'll see that, and we turn on, let's go ahead and turn on these drainage areas. You'll see that the drainage, see, like this drainage area is what's draining to this inlet right here. So all the drainage area that's on this northern basin is getting into structures up here, which is then being carried through our pipe system into our northern pond, and the same thing down here in the southern basin. So I'm going to go ahead and turn those back off. Okay, so in order to create a pipe network based off your conceptual storm plan, you're going to want to start with creating an alignment. So in my Home tab, I'm going to go through Create Design, where we have all of our Create Design tools, which we use for a ton of different things in Civil 3D, like parcels, profiles, etc. We're just going to go ahead and create an alignment. So it's the exact same as many other processes like corridors or other processes in Civil 3D, a lot of which are going to start with an alignment. So the process that we use is we draw a polyline first, and then we're going to come to alignment and hit Create Alignment from Objects. So we're going to start out by drawing our polyline. And the general rule for creating pipe networks in Civil 3D, in order for our profiles to come out in the correct orientation, we want our alignments to run from downstream to upstream. So we're going to identify our most downstream point in that run of pipe. So for this northern run of pipe, we have our most downstream point being the outfall into the pond. So we're going to start our polyline from the outfall into the pond, and we're just going to follow our pipes all the way up to our most upstream point, which is going to be this catch basin right here. Okay, and then our polylines can't have multiple branches, so we're going to have a separate alignment for this single branch to this catch basin, as well as a separate alignment for this single branch to this catch basin. So we'll just go ahead and draw those guys in. Okay. And now we're going to go to Alignment, Create Alignment from Objects, and we will select the polyline that we just drew, hit Enter, and then we're going to look for arrows along the polyline, which are going to tell us what direction our alignment is running in. As you can see on the bottom here in our command window, it says press Enter to accept direction or reverse. So there's arrows somewhere along the alignment. As you can see, here's one right here, and that's going to show you what direction your alignment is moving in, and you can hit R, Enter to reverse that direction, or just Enter to accept that direction. So again, we want our alignment to run from downstream to upstream. So this arrow direction is correct, downstream being down on this end and upstream being to the left. So this arrow is exactly what we want to see. So we're just going to hit Enter and not R, Enter. So if I press R and then were to hit Enter, it would reverse that direction. So we don't want to do that. So I'm just going to hit Enter. And now we can name the alignment. So I'm going to name the top pipe network going to the northern pond as Storm A. I'm going to name that network as my Storm A system, and then the one going to the southern pond will be Storm B. So I'm just going to name this alignment Storm A. And typically we name the alignment based off of the first structure, the downstream most structure of that alignment, but we haven't named our pipes and structures yet, so we'll come back and rename this alignment later on. We'll just start out with Storm A for now. Our alignment style is going to be CVLX. Our alignment layer is going to be a layer that we typically create, which is going to be a CZ storm alignment. And if we navigate to our CZ layers, you'll see that I haven't made this layer yet. So we're just going to leave it on the 0 layer now for now. Our alignment label set will be CVLX. if you want to see the labels, typically we don't leave the labels on plan view, so these aren't usually necessary. So I typically go ahead and select no labels so that the labels don't show up. I think they clutter the screen. Sometimes they can be useful for initial design, but most of the time you're not going to need them. And then your add curves between tangents, again, this is going to be reiterated in basically every video going over any process where you need alignments. This is only going to get used for roads. Pipes do not have curves or bends in them. They're always straight runs of pipes. So at each tangent or each point on your polyline, you don't want it to automatically add a radius there. So we're just going to go ahead and uncheck this box. It's very important. We'll hit OK. And then now when we select this guy, I'll drag over our properties pane. You can see this is an alignment now and not a polyline. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and create our layer. So I'll just bring over our layer states manager, right click on any of these CZ layers, hit new layer, and we're just going to name it CZ Storm Align. And I typically like to make the color for this magenta for two reasons. One, when you're designing in model space in your CAD, magenta is a very bright color. It makes it easy to see, so you can click on and grab your alignment much easier than if it was a darker color. It kind of contrasts well with the green of the pipes, which the magenta is going to be on top of, or your alignment's going to be in the same spot as your pipe runs. So that's why I usually pick the magenta color. And if somehow by accident you accidentally plot a grading sheet or a stormwater sheet to send to a client or send to a reviewer, and you leave this layer on, the magenta, when plotted, is a very thin, very not dark. It's not dark at all. It's very thin, so it's very hard to see. So it won't, pop up as big, bright, and bold and look funny on your pipes if it accidentally gets plotted. So it's kind of the best of both worlds there. So I usually make it magenta. I'm going to drag this guy back over to the side. And we'll go ahead and throw our alignment on that layer. CZ Storm Align. And then we'll turn that layer back on so we can see it. Cool. And we can just do the same thing for these branches here. We'll go over it one more time, but a little bit faster. Create alignment from objects. Select this guy. See if the direction's good. Again, we want our alignments to run from downstream to upstream. So this is our most downstream point, and this is our most upstream point. All the water is going to enter into this catch basin, go down this pipe, and then down this way into our pond. So this arrow is correct. We'll just go ahead and hit enter, right? And then we'll just name this guy Storm A. I'll just name it Storm A1 for now. The name will probably change based off the names of the structures in the pipes, but that's fine for now. Our alignment style is going to be CVLX, the alignment layer. Now that we've created the layer, we can go ahead and click both of these little buttons here and go to CZ Storm Align. Press OK here. Go ahead and uncheck this box. Our label set will be no labels. Looks good to me. We'll go ahead and press OK. Now we've got another alignment created here. Same thing for this guy. Alignment, create alignment from objects. So this arrow is going in the wrong direction. The most upstream point is going to be at this end of the pipe, at this catch basin, right? If this was the downstream point, all the water would come from these two pipes, and then it would just go and flood up in the structure. So obviously this is the most upstream point along this specific alignment. So we're going to hit R for reverse this time, and then hit enter. You won't see the arrow immediately change, but it does reverse the direction. But it won't change until you finish going through your alignment creation tools, which is this little window that we have here. So we'll just name this guy Storm A2. And then our layer, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. Click this little button, and then click this little base layer button. And we'll go ahead and select CZ Storm Alignment. No labels, no curves between tangents. Press OK. All right. And now we have an alignment created for this entire top portion of our network. And we're just going to go ahead and take a second to talk about some of the key pieces of information you need to know before you create your pipe network. So one of the key things is that you cannot join structures and pipes from two different pipe networks together. So if for whatever reason our stormwater design changed and we created a pipe network, so we had our pipe network B down here on the southern portion of the site and our pipe network A up here on the northern portion of the site, and we wanted to tie in, say, this structure no longer runs down to this guy, it actually runs up to this guy. This structure would have to get moved from our pipe network B up to our pipe network A, or else they won't join correctly. So there's a way that you can merge pipe networks together. We won't go over that just yet, but we will say all of these pipes that have to connect to each other need to be within the same pipe network. So this kind of leaves you with multiple options. Some people might elect to create one pipe network, and when I say pipe network, I mean the entity pipe network in CAD. So if I drag over my tool space here, you'll see that we have all of our different entities in CAD, including pipe networks. So some people might elect to have one pipe network for the entirety of their file. That way they can connect pipes and structures from all different points across the file, etc. However, that might make organizationally your file a little bit more difficult to understand. So for me, I prefer if the two networks are completely separate from one another, as it is in this case. We've got one network running all the way up here, draining to this northern pond, and one network draining to the southern pond. I prefer to have two separate pipe networks. So we'll see under this networks piece, once we make our pipe networks, that we'll have two different networks as opposed to one. Now, again, that's going to limit me when it comes to joining different structures and pipes together, and I'll have to either merge the networks together or create new structures and pipes in order for it to function correctly, which can cause some confusion for inexperienced Civil 3D users. However, I find it to be a better way to organize my files, so that's the way that we're going to do it in this video. But again, it leaves you with multiple choices as the drafter or as the design engineer to organize your file or set up your pipe networks, whatever way works best for you. So now we're going to create the pipe network for this northern run of pipes. So we'll go ahead and again navigate to the Home tab and our Create Design portion of the Home tab, where we're going to see all of our different Civil 3D design entities, and we'll see pipe network here in the bottom right. We'll click this guy and we'll just go ahead and open up our pipe network creation tools. So this is going to open up our pipe network creation tools, where you'll be able to name the pipe or name the network. So our network is just going to be Storm A. This name's fine for now and should be fine for indefinitely. Usually our networks are just split Storm A, B, C, D, E, and so on. So our network parts list is going to be CVLX Storm. So if you don't have this option available to you in your networks part list, you need to import our CVLX styles. Once your CVLX styles are imported, our network parts list should be available for you to pick, and you're going to use the Storm network parts list for all Storm pipe networks. And we're going to go ahead and click this layers button. Now what this is going to do is it's going to set what layer by default will your pipes and structures get drawn in on as you're drawing them in. So if you don't edit this and you leave these as 0, when drawing in pipes and structures, which we'll get to in just a minute, they will by default populate in your model space on the 0 layer. Now we have a layer for pipes and structures, and they pretty much never change, and that's our CG Util Storm layer. So it's this guy right here, CG Util Storm. So I always click this layers button, and then I'm going to set the pipe plan layer and the structure plan layer to CG Util Storm for both of these. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. Okay, and then your pipe profile layer, structure profile layer, and pipe network section layer can all remain on the 0 layer. We typically leave everything in our profiles on the 0 layer because they're going to be separated away from our plan in model space so that they can populate on our sheets. So that just makes it a little bit easier later on down the line. So just change these top two pipe plan and structure plan layers to CG Util Storm. It's going to save you a lot of time moving things to layers later on. Okay, surface name. Our pipe network is always going to reference our PG surface. So you're going to want to select PG. If you don't have a PG surface created yet, then you're going to be losing out on some of the really important capabilities that pipe networks offer you. Our alignment name is going to be Storm A. So most of the pipes and structures in this pipe network are along our Storm A alignment. Some of them are along our Storm A1 and Storm A2 alignments that we created separately. So for those structures, we'll have to come back behind ourselves and change their reference alignment from Storm A to Storm A1 and Storm A2, whichever one is applicable to that pipe or structure. This is important because that alignment, the station of which the structure is on that alignment, will populate in your structure label, and it automatically references the reference alignment for that structure. So it's important for them to have the correct reference alignment. What this little drop down does is it goes ahead and sets a default reference alignment for all of the structures and pipes that you're going to draw in this pipe network. So because most of the structures and pipes in this pipe network are along Storm A, we're going to select that one so that we have to do the least amount of work later when changing or setting the correct reference alignments for our structures and pipes later on. Our structure label style, which typically will be changed later on, but most of the time is going to be CVLX PR Storm. PR meaning proposed, EX meaning existing. This is all new proposed infrastructure, so it's going to be CVLX PR Storm. And our pipe label style is just going to be CVLX PR Storm Profile or just pipe. So we're just going to leave it as pipe for now. We'll go ahead and press OK. And that's going to open up our network layout tools. So if you don't have your network layout tools, or you close them out by accident, these are accessible from your tool space when you come to networks. And then as you can see, the Storm A network, which has now been created, has populated in our tool space window. We can right click on network Storm A and then hit edit network. And this will open up our network layout tools again for us. So now we can start drawing in our structures and pipes. Before you start drawing in, you're going to want to set what type of structure and what type of pipe you're drawing in as you draw them in. So this is a good opportunity to go over the different types of pipes that we typically specify. Here at Civil Logistics, we do a lot of HDPE pipe. HDPE pipe is high density polyethylene pipe. It's similar to PVC, but not exactly the same. But again, you can think that kind of high density plastic pipe. We also specify a lot of corrugated metal pipe. Corrugated meaning that sort of wavy pattern along the pipe itself. And then metal, it's obviously a metal pipe. And then we also sometimes specify reinforced concrete pipe, or RCP, or just concrete pipe here in the Civil 3D parts list. But most of this network is probably going to be done in HDPE. CMP is a more cheap pipe type, but many jurisdictions might require you to use HDPE over CMP. So you should always be thinking about how can you save your client money and how can you produce the most economically efficient pipe network. However, some extra requirements or standard practices or whatever the design engineer that you're working for is comfortable with might influence what material type you're going to use. So we're going to start out with 18-inch HDPE pipe. And then for our structures, we're going to start out with a concentric cylindrical structure. So these are the ones that we have by default imported, and some of these numbers are pretty important. The most important one being this first number here, the diameter. So 48 diameter, this is in inches. So this is a 4-foot diameter structure. So the diameter of the structure, the circular cylindrical structure is 48 inches or 4 feet, and those are obviously getting bigger and bigger, 5 feet, 6 feet, 7 feet, and so on. The rest of these dimensions aren't particularly important for our needs. We really just care about the diameter of the structure itself. So smaller structures are going to be cheaper, and so you're going to want to use smaller structures wherever you can, but sometimes there are instances in which a larger structure is more appropriate. Another type of structure that we'll use commonly is a cylindrical structure slab top. So these slab top structures, again, you might have a really, really small 1.5-foot diameter slab top structure or a 4-foot slab top structure. And we'll go over the differences between slab top and cylindrical structures here in just a second, but typically we're going to use a concentric cylindrical structure, and we'll just go ahead and specify a 4-foot diameter cylindrical structure. All right, and then if you click this button right here, which is by default already selected, you will be drawing pipes and structures, and you can also select pipes only or structures only. So if I hit escape, I can just come back and hover over this guy, and this will be draw pipes and structures. So you click this, and now you're drawing in pipes and structures, and wherever you click, it'll begin to draw. So we're going to start from our downstream point to our upstream point, and we're going to snap to the endpoints of the alignment. One thing that's extremely important is that the endpoints of your alignment, or the vertices of your alignment, need to be on the same sort of reference points or grips of the structures themselves, or else the structure label will not populate correctly and the structure will not generate in your profile correctly. So that's why when drawing your structures and pipes, it's critical that you snap, do middle mouse space E, or whatever your snaps are binded to, or you can simply turn on your snaps here at the bottom, and you're going to want to snap to the endpoints of each alignment. And we're just going to continue like that all the way up. I'm going to keep closing the event viewer, which is giving me a little bit of trouble right now. Just go ahead and move this guy off to the side. And we're going to go all the way up our alignment as such. Okay. And then we can go ahead and delete the polyline that we have here that follows all the way, because now we have pipes here, which we can grab one. And the select similar command does work on pipes. So I can select one pipe. As you can see here, let me drag over the properties pane. This is a pipe and no longer a polyline, and this is one pipe here, and so on. So I can grab one of these guys and I can do select similar, and we're going to change the style of the pipe from CVLX Storm, which is the typical pipe style, but we're going to change it to HP Storm. So HP Storm is the pipe style that we use for HDPE pipe. So because we specified HDPE pipe, we'll change it to HP Storm. Had we specified concrete pipe, we'd be using CVLX Storm RCP. Had we specified corrugated metal pipe, we'd be using CVLX Storm CMP. So we'll just go ahead and change to HP Storm, and then we're going to go ahead and change the line type of all these pipes to continuous. We don't want them to be the dashed line type that's set by default to the layer CG Util Storm. So now the pipes are appearing in plan view as they should be. So if I go ahead and hit escape, give it a second to load, this is how our pipes should be appearing. Right, and now we can draw in these last couple pipes that we missed, which is this guy right here and this guy right here. So same thing, we'll click on this button right here, draw pipes and structures. And when you're drawing new pipes and structures off of existing pipes and structures, you're going to want to hover over wherever you want to attach into, which is right here, and you'll see this little orange square pop up and this little orange icon. If that's there before you click, it will tie into that existing structure. So as you can see, it did not place a new structure there. It simply tied into that guy, and now I'm drawing a pipe off of that structure. And now I can snap to the endpoint of this alignment, and I can go ahead and delete this polyline. Do the same thing here, set this guy to continuous, and change the style to HP Storm. We can do the same thing here. I'm just going to go ahead and delete this polyline, draw pipes and structures, and then look for our orange little icon to pop up so that we tie into that structure, as so. And then we'll go ahead and snap to the endpoint, hit escape, then again, style, HP Storm, and line type, continuous. Okay, so now we have all of our pipes and structures drawn in along the length of our pipe network A. The only thing remaining from our conceptual storm layout is the blocks from our structures. So if I grab one of those guys, as you see, this is a block. And then this circle that populated when we drew in our pipes and structures is the actual structure. So what we can do is delete all of these blocks. So I'll start with just one for now. And then the structure, we have all of our blocks imported as styles for each of these structures. So that structure that was there and how we want it to show in plan view is as a single wing catch basin. So if you scroll down, you'll see we have single wing catch basin left and right. So we'll go ahead and select left. That's not the right one, so we'll just change it to right. Right, and then we have this little grip that we can use to rotate it. So if I set my ortho to this guy, grab this structure, and then rotate it like this, doesn't seem to want to quite cooperate, but we can kind of just eyeball it just for now. As so. And now when we click on the single wing catch basin, we're selecting our structure. So our structure is appearing as a single wing catch basin, which is exactly what we want. So we don't want this double, just a circle as a structure and then the block itself. We want to be able to just grab the single wing catch basin and it be the structure itself. So we're just going to delete this block, and then this guy is going to be a single wing catch basin left. And so we can do this for virtually every different structure type because we have styles for virtually every different structure type. So we're just going to go ahead and do this essentially all the way up the entire length. So I can delete this guy, delete this guy, delete this guy. I'll just go ahead and get rid of all of these. As such, and these are all catch basins. Okay, and we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to set this guy to a single wing catch basin right. Same thing here. This guy is going to be a single wing catch basin left. Okay, close enough. And this guy will be a single wing catch basin right. Sometimes this grip can be super finicky. And then if we grab this square grip or the location property on the structure itself and move it, if the pipe is connected to the structure, it will move it with it. However, as you can see, when I do that, it moves the pipe but not the alignment. And so we want our alignment, these two grips, the location or alignment parameter grip and the location of our structure, to be on top of one another, as so. This is extremely important in order for the structure to appear as it should and the structure label to populate itself correctly. So we'll just continue all the way down the line. Changing the styles for them to appear as they should. Okay. And this guy is probably either going to be an open pipe coming out of this retaining wall or some sort of head wall or something. I'm going to assume it's an open pipe. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change the style to null so that it appears as just a circle. We're going to go ahead and regen, save our file really quick. Okay, now we have all our structures and pipes placed, and we have the styles set as to what the styles should be. And now we're ready to go ahead and start editing our pipes and our structures.